Today I wanted to show how to do an NDB approach, which is considered to be a non-precision approach, to Lima Oscar Whiskey Kilo, which is an airport in Austria, Klagenfurt, to runway 28 right. This is quite an involved approach, as you can see. Due to very tricky terrain around the airport, we need to come in at 8,500 feet altitude over the NDB Kilo Foxtrot Tango KFT. And once we're over that NDB, we need to take a QDR or a magnetic bearing from that NDB 272 to the second NDB Kilo India, as you can see here, while we're descending to 6,000 feet. As we start descending between the two NDBs, once we are over Kilo India, frequency 313, we need to turn into a magnetic bearing from that NDB 330. It's called QDR. And we continue in that direction until we get to 6,000 feet. Once we reach an altitude of 6,000 feet, we need to start turning left to catch a QDM or magnetic bearing to the same NDB on a bearing of 103. And we need to stop descending at 5,100 feet. And at 5,100 feet, we need to be crossing over Kilo India. And once we're over it, we need to turn into the direction or the magnetic bearing of 092. It's a QDR magnetic bearing from Kilo India, or you can consider it as a QDM magnetic bearing to the second NDB, which is Kilo Foxtrot Tango of 092. And we need to start descending again to 4,600 feet. Once we are over KFT, we need to turn to bearing 056, a QDR magnetic bearing from KFT, Kilo Foxtrot Tango, until, and it says here you need to continue in that direction for 1 minute while we are at 4,600 feet. And once we go in that direction for about 1 minute, we start to turn back into QDM or magnetic bearing to 272 to NDB KFT again. And when we turn, we need to start descending to 4,000 feet. So we cross the NDB again at 4,000 feet. And after that, we need to start descending on a magnetic bearing of 272 QDR from this NDB. And the decision height, where we have to be able to see the runway, is 2,400 feet, as you can see here from the chart. And at that point, if we see the runway, we continue our descent until we are over the NDB Kilo India right here. And at that point, we have to turn into direction 283, which is the direction of the runway, 28 right. In order to make it more interesting, if we go into explain, what I did was with the weather, I set a thick layer of overcast cumulus, as you can see here, from 2,800 feet MSL to 10,000 feet. So we don't see anything pretty much during the entire flight until a little bit above the decision height, and we can be able to see the runway. I set also the visibility to marginal VFR, so it's not like the most perfect visibility once you get below that layer. So that's the weather. We will start from Graz Airport, Lima Oscar Whiskey Golf, which is very close to this airport. It's a little bit northeast of it. We'll start from here, and then we will take, I believe, one of the runways in this direction, 17 center, and take off from there. Another thing that's in order to be able to get to close to this airport, we have one of two choices here. If I go back into search and show Lima Oscar Whiskey Golf. The airport will be taken off from. Here we go. This is Graz. Here we go. This is the airport we'll be taking off from, and then we're gonna fly southwest to here, to the first NDB. Now bear in mind that in order to track this, we're not gonna be using GPS at all. We're gonna go instruments old school using the needles, VORs and NDBs. There is a VOR with a frequency 113.1. We use decimal, not point in Europe, but anyways. Also Kilo Foxtrot Tango. So we're gonna track a radial to that NDB, and we're gonna try to be able to go back. Hold on, airports. Here we go. Go back again to be on this magnetic bearing 272 before we get here, so we don't have to do any adjustments once we get over the NDB, and we just start descending. So let's get started and start the flight as planned. Here we go. And we're gonna do this in the King Air twin prop plane. It's and we're gonna be using the autopilot for, of course, headings and controlling the altitude and stuff like that. But again, we're not gonna use the GPS at all. You have to be able to plan your flight accordingly, according to the charts. So we have a plan now. We're gonna track to the VOR, and when we get close to the NDB station, we're gonna try to catch the QD M272 to it, and then it's gonna be a QDR from that NDB, as you can see here. So we're gonna come on 272, and then we continue to follow our plan. Okay, I'm not too much concerned about the QNH at this airport. Yes, you're supposed to set the local QNH for the airport. Okay, might as well. Let's check what the QNH is now at Lima Oscar Whiskey Golf, or Graz. I'm checking it right now online. Lima Oscar Whiskey Golf, and here's the meter. It says the QNH is 1027. Okay, well, close enough. 1027. We have the VOR tuned in already. 113.1 KFT that we need to track first to the airport, Lima Oscar Whiskey Kilo, using that VOR, and then afterwards we're gonna have to use our NDBs. I have the two frequencies for the two NDBs tuned in, 374 and 313. As you can see, 374 and 313. We're gonna first take off and ascend or go up to 8,500 feet or 8,600 feet to make sure we clear the terrain before we arrive. Okay, so we will get started now. I'm gonna go ahead and just set up the autopilot, make sure everything is set here. I have this SciTech panel, which is very helpful, because the autopilot in this plane is right here in the middle, in the center, and I don't like to control it because and lose sight of my instruments. So I got the SciTech multi-panel to help me with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my altitude to 8,000, let's say 600. As you can see here, it's been set. And I'm going to set a vertical speed of maybe 1,000 feet per minute. Then we'll set the heading of the runway. I believe it was runway 17 center. You can see the heading bug on the HSI right here is set 170, and you'll see how this lines up when we line up with the runway. Okay, it looks like the VOR is live. We are about a distance of about 43 nautical miles from there, and we're gonna get started now. Okay, so we'll hide the yoke, release the brakes, and start moving to the runway. And we're gonna turn left to line up with the runway. Flaps 1 down. I used my SciTech here to lower the flaps. And you can see the heading bug now is lining up with the runway. And we're good. Everything is set. I'll go now full throttle. I'm gonna get speed at 90. Okay, we lift off. Gear up. Flaps up. Set the autopilot. Vertical speed 1000. And you can see now we're starting to climb and maintaining runway heading using the autopilot. So far so good. Let's check out the lights here. We don't need the landing lights. Of course, we don't need the taxi lights anymore. So that's off. And due to the weather being it could be get a little bit icy, we maybe turn the anti-icing engine anti-ice on, left and right. We're good. And now we go ahead now and catch a radial to Kilo Foxtrot Tango. Okay, so we are on radial 234. Now I'm gonna hit nav. The plane is gonna start turning to catch whichever radial I'm going to pick. To inbound radial to the Kilo Foxtrot Tango VOR. And we're turning in that direction now. I have the GPS open in the corner. Keep an eye on the, as if it's a DME. So keep an eye on the distance. And we're good now. As you can see, we are on radial 057 from, or radial 2372 that VOR. Alright, so far so good. Vertical speed is 1000 feet per minute. And we're still climbing. And it's a good idea now to check out the QNH at the arrival airport, and said that because all these altitudes that we're going to have to stick to in the chart, on the chart, are going to be according to the local QNH at Lima Oscar Whiskey Kilo, or Klagenfurt. Here we go. Back here, I'm going now to check online what the QNH is. It should be close to the value we have set right now, because the two airports are really close to each other. And yes, it is 1026. We have it set to 1027. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this to 1026, as you can see here. As I said before, okay, so what we're doing right now is we are tracking a radial to KFT, not the NDB, but to a VOR, which is somewhere here. I already checked before the distance between these two guys, which is about 7.7 or 7.5 nautical miles. The reason why I checked this is that because I need to keep track, and when to start turning. You cannot just turn right when you're above the NDB. You're gonna miss that radial because you're gonna be turning a little bit afterwards. You need to start turning a little bit before. So we need to plan ahead to know that the distance on the DME of the VOR is going to be here, and it shows that the distance between the two is 7.7 nautical miles on another chart, and that's what we're going to use here for distance to plan our turns. Okay, so right now we are definitely not approaching this NDB on a QDM of 272. We will when we get a little bit closer. We can check first if we have the NDB live. It's tuned in, but right now here on the ADF I have actually this is selected to VOR, and if I click ADF it's live. That's a good sign. I'm gonna kill the other one because I want to stay horizontal, not to confuse me. And as you can see here that we are in a QDM of about 240, but we want the QDM to be 272 before we get closer. And the way to do this is, since this is an NDB and not a VOR, what happens is that if I want to move the tip, I am always at the tail of the needle. That's a standard thing you need to know with NDBs. So we are here and the NDB is there at the tip and we are at the tail. If I want to move that tip to the right, meaning I want to catch a QDM of 272, I need to go a little bit left and then the needle will move to the right. So you move to the opposite direction of the tip to move it to the specific QDM that you're looking for. If I'm at the tail, which you'll see later, I need to move in the same direction that I want to move the tail to in order to catch a specific QDR, or a magnetic bearing from. Okay, so we are about 28 nautical miles away, so maybe we need to start planning on catching this QDM. So right now I'm gonna change the autopilot from navigation to heading. So I'm not going to be tracking the VOR radial anymore. Instead, I will track a heading. And if I want to track a heading and I want to move, like I said, the tip of the needle to 272, I need to go a little bit to the left. I'm going to go maybe a heading of 210. Here we go. Now the plane will start turning. I switch the autopilot from navigation to heading. And now watch the tip of this needle as we approach or get closer to Kilo Foxtrot Tango NDB. This needle or this tip is going to keep moving to the right, and once we get it close to 272, we're going to turn in the same direction to track it. Okay, as you can see here, we're still going up about almost about 1,000 feet to our target altitude. So far things are looking good. We're not going to look outside. There's nothing to see outside. If we switch the view to external chase, you can see, can't see anything underneath because of the layer of clouds we have set earlier. Alright, going back inside the plane, you can see, as I had mentioned before, the tip of the needle is moving to the right, and it's going to keep moving to the right until we get it to around 270, 272, and then we'll track that direction. Bear in mind now, NDB approaches are instrument approaches, and they are considered non-precision. You allow a deviation in Europe according to ESA rules of about 5 degrees within the legal limit. We're going to try to keep that throughout the flight. And again, I don't want to use the GPS. There's no GPS here. I'm going to switch this. We don't need the GPS. We are going old school instruments all the way without a GPS. And this is good because you can get a better sense of situational awareness, knowing where you are, where you're going, planning the flight accordingly. And that's the way to go. And if we want to look ahead too, just in case, but what happens if we do not see the runway at the decision height of 2,400 feet? What's the process at that point? Well, here's the missed approach process on Jepson chart. It's usually on the top. It said you need to climb on 283 to 4,000 feet, then turn left back to track into Kilo, India, and then continue to climb once you over Kilo, India on a QDR 092 from Kilo, India, or 092 QDM magnetic bearing to this NDB. Keep climbing as it says. Turn left. After you get to KFT, you're going to turn left, as you can see here, and back to Kilo, India, to 8,000 feet. And you're going to hold over climbing to 8,000 feet and hold. I don't know why it has the holding fix as KFT, while here on the chart it says to turn left to Kilo, India, climbing to 8,000 feet, and then to hold. I have to check that. Oh yeah, right here. Missed approach fix. Okay, right here. Okay, and then you get here and you start holding at 8,000 feet until you get instructions from ATC. Okay, back again to our flight. Let's put the chart a little bit here to the right. Come back to the... We're about 16 nautical miles away. Oh, you can see the tip of the needle is moving very close now to 272. So we need now to get closer. I would get now to heading 240. Wait a little bit till it gets a little bit past the west, or the 270, and then I will turn in the same direction to track a QDM of 272 to Kilo Foxtrot Tango. Alright, looks like it's good now. So now we're going to turn in the same direction. And perfect. We are now on a QDM 272. QDM 272. So we're coming from this direction now at 8,500 feet. Now let's start planning ahead. We're going to stay at 272 because we're good. We're set to that direction. But we need to start descending to 6,000 feet once we are over the Kilo Foxtrot Tango NDB. About 11 nautical miles away, not from the NDB but from the VOR. They're really close to each other. If you look at if you had paid attention to earlier when I put the map between Graz and Lima Oscar Whiskey Kilo. So once this needle starts to turn, which means we are over the NDB, we need to start descending to 6,000 feet with a QDM of 272 to Kilo India. It's a good idea too to slow down a little. So I am going to slow down once we start following the approach chart, and the reason is that gives you more time to plan ahead. Your turns, your altitudes, that's usually what pilots do in real life. They try to do the approach at the slowest speed possible to give themselves time to plan ahead and to follow the chart accordingly. Otherwise, you're not going to have enough time if you're going too fast. I'm going to try to slow down to maybe 120 knots. That's actually decent speed within the categories here, A or B. So we're going to probably be at a category A or B, so we're fine according to our speed. These are the categories based on the speed of the plane when you come to the approach, when you actually do the approach. Okay, getting very close. When you know now the distance between the two is about 7.5 nautical miles once we get over the first NDB. So with this way we can plan ahead our turn when we get here to 330. Okay, again, plan ahead. Once we are over the NDB, we need to start descending to 6,000 feet with the QDR of 272 from Kilo Foxtrot Tango, or QDM 272 to Kilo India, the NDB on the left between the two. Okay, looks like the speed is decent now. We slow down a little. Distance is 3.3 nautical miles, getting closer. And we have the secondary frequency for the second NDB Kilo India already tuned in as the backup frequency. And we'll switch to it right once we pass over Kilo Foxtrot Tango. We're going to switch the frequency to this guy, 313. Okay, getting very close, maintaining the QDM. So far so good. Okay, you can see the needle is moving. That's because we're getting close to it. It's similar to the cone of confusion when you fly over a VOR. Here we go. It's starting to swing. And yeah, it's gonna start setting direction now. Very good. Okay, so the needle is gonna start to swing. We need to start descending to 6,000 feet as planned. Go to the autopilot, set the altitude to 6,000 feet. Vertical speed of, let's say, minus or 800 feet per minute. And you can see here from the altimeter, we're starting to descend. And we have passed the NDB, and we need to tune in now the second one. And you can see now, here we go, the tip is right there. And we are on a QDM, magnetic bearing 2, Kilo India. So we are here now between the two. We are on this one, and we are descending to 6,000 feet. That's my target altitude that's been set by the GPS. Pay attention, the distance between the two is about 7.5 nautical miles, so maybe around 7.2, 7.3 nautical miles. I'm going to start making the turn, this turn to 330. And then I'll start turning back when I'm at 6,000 feet. If I'm at 6,000 feet too soon, it's a good idea to keep this direction for about a minute before turning back, just like they said here. We're at 7,700 feet. Very good. Again, plan ahead. We're turning to 330 once we are over Kilo India, or a little bit before. We're going to catch a QDR magnetic bearing from Kilo India of 330. Okay, getting close to Kilo India now. We know the distance between the two is about 7.7 nautical miles. Again, we don't need to look outside. This is instrument flying. Visibility is crap. You're not supposed to be able to see anything outside. Trust your instruments. Here we go. I'm going to turn now to 330 because I'm getting close as we have planned. And indeed, here we go. And we want now the tail, the QDR, to be at 330. And so far so good. 330. Now if I want to bring the tail a little bit to the right, I need to go a little bit to the right. And it's gonna follow me in the same direction. So I'm at about 335 right now. Okay, so when I hit 6,000 feet, I'm gonna start turning back to direction 103. Once I'm on 103 QDM, I have to start descending to 5,100 feet. Plan ahead. Okay, how do you do this turn? Do you just turn back? No, because the plane is not like a big jet. You need to keep like about a 90-degree from the NDB, and I'll show you how to do this using the needle. Okay, I'm at 6,000 feet now. I'm gonna start turning left. The trick is, I know the NDB is, as I'm turning here, the NDB is on my left. Keep the arrow at about 90 degrees. It's gonna keep getting far from me, and I keep turning left, maintaining 90 degrees. When I feel like I'm getting close to 103, QDM 103, the tip gets to 103. This tip right here gets to 103. That's when I know that it's time to get in that direction. See, now I need the needle to be perpendicular to my direction. It's gonna keep going to the left. So I'm here now. I'm doing this turn. And I am at 6,000 feet according to the chart. Right here, 6,000 feet. Alright, look, the needle keeps going to the left because I am about to catch this QDM 103 this way. It's moving to the left. I keep moving to the left a little using the heading of the autopilot. Here we go. It's getting very close to 103. I'm doing a rate 1 turn. Rate 1 turn is 2 minutes for 360, 1 minute for 180. So keep an eye on that because of your speed. I think we're good now to start turning to 103. By the time we do the turn, because we're doing rate 1 turns, it should... Here we go, the tip is already getting close to 103, and we're gonna try to catch it right now. We don't want it to escape from us. It did escape a little bit less than 103 within the legal limit. I might go a little bit left of it to bring it back to the right again. Okay. Here we go, 103. We're good now. Now remember, when we're on this direction, we need to descend to 5,100 feet. Let's do that. Altitude, target altitude is 5,100 feet. Let's go 800 feet per minute, and here we go. We start descending. We're tracking now a QDM of 103. So now we are on this leg. This leg to 5,100 feet. It says here, once you are over Kilo India, you need to turn left a little bit more, as you can see here, to 092 QDR from Kilo India. It's escaping from us. Want to come back to 103, come to the left of it, bring it back. It's going to swing to the right. Here we go. Heading of 092. Switch now the frequency back to the other one. Get the tip here. And we need to descend now to 4,600 feet. We start descending to 4,600 feet according to the chart. So now we are here between the two. We need to stay at 4,600 feet. And pay attention now, as we plan ahead, when we get to Kilo Foxtrot Tango, according to here, we need to turn 056 to the left for 1 minute, and then start turning back. (4,600 feet) hold altitude. Okay, we're at 4,600 feet, close enough. Trying to maintain a vertical speed of 0, and the distance is decreasing, getting close to Kilo Foxtrot Tango. So we are now on this leg right here. Okay, planning ahead, we're gonna turn to 056 in this direction for 1 minute. You just stopwatch to time yourself. I have a stopwatch here ready. Maintaining 4,600 feet according to the local QNH of that particular airport. Okay, we are getting very close now. We're going to turn to 056 for 1 minute. Here we go. It's turning now, so I'm going to 056 using the heading bug. So I need the tail to be at 056. The tail. Okay, I'm a little bit to the right of it, so I need to go a little bit more to the left until I bring the tail back. Here we go, it's coming. And then I'll come to it now. Okay, so now where are we on the chart? We are on this leg now at 4,600 feet for 1 minute. Timer started. Have about 30 seconds left, and then I start turning right, come back to 272 QDM to Kilo Foxtrot Tango. Okay, 10 more seconds, and then we start turning right. Okay, spin 1 minute. Now we start turning right and try to catch the QDM of 272. We'll keep, again, the tip of the needle at about 90 degrees from us until we get close to 272, and then we turn in that direction. Now we are here. We're doing this turn here. Okay, as you can see, the tip of the needle is getting close to 272, so I continue now my turn and try to catch the QDM of 272. Okay, now it says here, once we turn in this direction, we need to start descending to 4,000 feet. I'm going now to set the altitude to 4,000 feet, vertical speed. Okay, and then now we need to start descending and check our decision height. Altitude, I'm gonna set that to 2,000 feet and start descending more. Alright, so now we are on here, descending 272, and we're supposed to be able to make a decision at 2,400 feet. We'll keep an eye on that on the altitude. So let's look outside. I need to change the vertical speed. 800. And switch the frequency to the Kilo India. Here we go. And now we're between the two. Send a little bit more. Here's the speed. Okay, decision height is getting closer. And again, according to the chart, once we are over Kilo India, we're supposed to turn to 283, which is the runway direction. Okay, here's the runway. As you can see, gears down. Reduce the power. Flaps 1. Flaps 2. A little bit high, but we'll make it. And we didn't use the GPS. Gears down. Okay. And touchdown. All right. So this is pretty much it. This is how we do a non-precision approach following the chart. And thank you for watching.